We start tonight with breaking news about Fox News. To quote De La Soul in honor of the passing of Plug 2, it ain't all good. And that's the truth. Things aren't going like you thought they would, and it's all on you, Fox News. New evidence showing Rupert Murdoch, Fox News host, and executives knew Trump was knowingly lying about 2020 election fraud, but they put it on the air anyway for profits and power. A trove of texts and emails released in a new filing from Dominion Voter Systems, suing Fox News for $1.6 billion in a defamation suit. The claim is Fox News knowingly lied about their company, and now we have receipts and private texts. Fox News host called Trump and his lawyers' election claims total BS, insane, crazy, mind-blowingly nuts, reckless, off the rails, and effing lunatics. These are not mean tweets. These are actual texts from Fox News hosts. Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and Laura Ingraham were in disbelief off camera on Trump's conspiracy theories. Carlson texting Ingraham, quote, "Sidney Powell is lying, by the way. I caught her. It's insane." The response, quote, "Sidney is a complete nut. No one will work with her. Ditto with Rudy." Carlson writing, quote, "Our viewers are good people, and they believe it." Fox News titan Rupert Murdoch, who was just deposed, wrote an email about Trump lawyers Giuliani and Powell. Quote, "Really crazy stuff, terrible stuff, damaging everybody. I fear," said the Kendall Roy of News. Hannity said Giuliani was, quote, "acting like an insane person." Laura Ingraham described him as, quote, "an idiot." And here's what was going on the air, though, despite what they were texting.
We've got evidence of corruption all across the country in countless districts. The machine ran an algorithm that shaved votes from Trump and awarded them to Biden. They used the machines to trash large batches of votes that should have been awarded to President Trump. And they used a machine to inject and add massive quantities of votes for Mr. Biden. A lot of the machines, particularly by the Dominion Company, in which Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi hold interests, along with Mr. Soros has a connection to that as well. They actually have a Chinese software or parts in them.
The machines can be hacked. There's no question about that. Their machines can be hacked.
A knowing intent to peddle in conspiracy theories, stoking the viewers who Tucker said believed it. But it was about the brand and the profits. Carlson texting Hannity and Ingraham demanding a reporter be fired for fact-checking a Trump lie. Quote, "Please get her fired. Seriously, what the bleep? I'm actually shocked. It needs to stop immediately, like tonight. It's measurably hurting the company." Hannity responded, he said, quote, "Already sent it to the top Fox executive." Continuing with our De La theme from earlier, for Fox, the stakes is high, $1.6 billion high, but Fox kept lying anyway, with Ingraham, Tucker Carlson, and Sean Hannity right in the middle of the hypocrisy. I guess 3 really is a magic number. Joining me now is Michael Steele, former RNC chair, and Michelle Goldberg, columnist with the New York Times. Her newest piece titled, "What Fox News Says When You're Not Listening." Michelle, I will start with this. Hypocrisy, racism, stoking insurrection, none of these things are new for Fox News. None of these things are new for Tucker Carlson. But I think this is different because it appears as though, similar to maybe how they handled COVID, that they are treating their viewers as idiots. Is that something that you sort of discovered or came to the conclusion of when writing your piece? Because frankly, you can't think that your viewers are good people if you're steadily peddling them lies.
Well, I think it's both contempt for their viewers, but also really fear of them. Because one thing you see if you read this brief is just a total panic about the idea that they could lose audience share to Newsmax and how are they going to win them back. And they speak very specifically about viewers leaving them to watch Sidney Powell on Newsmax. And so even though they know that Sidney Powell is a delusional fantasist, they know actually, this is one of my favorite details from this brief, they know that some of her claims come from an email from somebody who said that they are capable of, this is a quote, time travel in a semi-conscious state. And so, but yet, as you see, they see that she gets ratings, and so they don't just legitimize her claims, but they bring her back on.
You know, I thought that the space lasers theory from Marjorie Taylor Greene was as low as it could go, but this is something new. Michael, the political angle to this is also very important to me. What you had is a business basically kowtowing to the sitting president who they knew was lying. But these people are mostly Republicans. They're not just sort of Trump supporters. Why did they feel that this kind of lying would necessarily benefit them? I mean, if they all knew the facts on the ground, is it really because Trump had that much of a hold over Fox? We always seem to have this debate as to, you know, who's wagging the dog between Trump and Fox News.
Give me a second. I'm trying to time travel and land correctly here so I can get this. Give me a moment. Okay, I'm here. So a couple of things. One, I kind of take a little bit of an exception about around the idea, because this gets to the heart of your question of Fox cynically looking at their audience as rubes, that they're somehow less intelligent, not very smart people. Mm-hmm. You've got to remember, they set their audience up for this. Over a period of time, they've spoon-fed them this crap. And so at a certain point, they lock them in and they're stuck. Right. They're told, if you go anyplace else, if you come to MSNBC, they're just going to lie to you. That's all. That's a bunch of communists and socialists over there. You can't go to CNN. This is where we're going to lead you to understand exactly, because it's all about how they're attacking Trump. Right. So they set themselves up here by creating this narrative with their audience that they could, after a fashion, they couldn't extract themselves from. They couldn't extricate themselves from, because Trump took that narrative and ran with it.
Right.
He then went out and said, oh, by the way, in addition to everything else Fox is telling you, peep this, all right, that the election was stolen, and this group over here, Dominion, are the ones that did it. So when you hear the back channel conversation between Hannity and Laura and Tuckums, you begin to understand, okay, so they're caught in this bifurcated space, and they know they can't get out of it, so they're just sort of consoling themselves. But the reality of it is they have to go back on the air and continue to perpetuate it, because they don't know what that audience was going to do, and they got a taste of it when they started to move to Newsmax, and that's when it got real.
Yeah, and that's part of it. You have this sort of profit motive. I want to put this up on the full screen. It was floated at Fox to have Hannity and Tucker and Ingram say that Biden won in order to sort of buttress Trump lies. And here's the thing, and Michelle, this is what I want to know. Financially, how dependent is Fox on the good graces of sort of Trump world? Because there's this fear of Newsmax. Is it fear of losing audience to Newsmax? Is it fear of losing access to Trump world when it's Marjorie Taylor Greene and McCarthy? What's the real fear going on here that made them sort of vacillate back and forth and whether or not they were going to be honest with the American public?
I think according to all the quotes that we see in this brief, it's ratings. They are really, really worried about losing audience to Newsmax. They talk about it over and over and over again, and they worry about what that will mean for their own ratings and their stock price. It's fast. You talk about sort of their relationship with Trump. At one point, Tucker Carlson refers to Trump after the late on January 6th. He calls Trump a demonic force. And he says, Trump destroys things, and he worries that Trump could destroy them, because at that point, Trump had started criticizing Fox News whenever it deviated from the party line. And so, yeah, I think the venality here just can't be overstated. I think that when you're looking at figures from kind of Trump world, you're always, or at least I'm always trying to see where to place them on the kind of ideologue to grifter spectrum. And the motives here are really kind of grifty.
I would argue that you've got ideologue, grifter, and then unmitigated coward. And that also, I think, sort of explains a lot of their behavior. Michael, I'm going to play you this video, because in the midst of this information, in the midst of these reveals that, again, major Fox News hosts are essentially calling their viewers idiots, that they do not believe many of the lies that they promoted. We've already seen this with COVID. They're talking about the 2020 election. Let's take a look at what Tucker was literally just saying last night, despite these new revelations.
You may be wondering what the hell is going on in our country. There are so many unanswered questions, some of them lingering. How, for example, did senile hermit Joe Biden get 15 million more votes than his former boss, rock star crowd surfer Barack Obama? Results like that would seem to defy the laws of known physics and qualify instead as a miracle. Was the 2020 election a miracle? Honestly, we don't know. We don't expect to get an answer to it tonight.
So Tucker's still lying. And still, I think this is one of the faux left things where they say, I'm just asking questions, what people do when they're sort of making bad faith statements. You know, Michael, what does it say about the current state of the Republican Party or the viewers or the party itself that Carlson is still lying, despite the fact that he got busted with receipts yet again, being exposed as a charlatan and a fraud and an abject coward?
He says it because what's the price? There's no penalty to him. His advertisers haven't gone away. His advertisers are still with him. So Tucker, just in case you want to know why Biden got more votes than Obama, more people voted in 2020 than in 2008. So there's that. Math, I know it's difficult, but that's the problem. You know, they create this little narrative and they say this crap. And they push it out there with this level of haughty authenticity. And then they try to get you to believe the dumbest thing that could possibly be said about an election. Like that. Like, well, there must be something funny because his successor, the vice president, got more votes than he did. Well, yeah, more people voted. We had incredible turnout levels of voters. And that was a steady increase between 2008 and 2020.